Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Alien Event Roundtable Talk. Alien Event has been in progress since 2009. People at that time, they told us, don't call it Alien Event, it's scary and stuff. We had 300 people came to West LA and for a meeting, greatest speakers who are Top Guns A-level now. They get highly paid. They don't want to join us now. At that time, 2009, I believe, or 2010, that event in West Los Angeles, we changed the name of the event to Alchemy Event for many years, then to 5D Events, 5devents.com, alchemyevent.com. Then we started the health and wellness leg of the business in research, BIOMED Expo, biomedexpo.com, our health and wellness event in September, same as Alien Event, alienevent.com. Also, next year, we add in the AI event to our disclosures and the advantage of AI for humanity versus the negative side they're talking about. So we will make the AI the best companion of humanity in all levels of agriculture, in all industries, health and wellness especially, and even at home, being your protector and your companion. That's the best friend you will have at home to wash your dishes and talk to you. The real AI, a human type plastic, biograded, that it will emphasize your future. You don't have to put any gadget in your brain. The AI friend and your AI pets and AI cars and AI this, and you already half there, 50% AI with your phones. So the black, like my friend used to say, black mirror is the magic of Illuminati they're using on your TV, on your phones, and you name it. So this hallucination of this matrix, it's under this dome of that we cannot go anywhere. We can jump the gate with the stargates that they're shutting them off in Iraq, Russia, Iran, and part of America, especially Sedona and Marcahuasi in Peru and stuff. We will talk about all this stuff. And they've been asking me to go to one of them, at least, which I did refuse to go jump the gate and come back. But years ago when I was in deep research and we pulled back, we were threatened, our businesses destroyed, our families scattered, a lot of things, and 3 near-death experiences that I don't want to get involved with those talks. So what me and you we can discuss right now, past 40 years been hell for us, because 40 years ago, 20 years ago, we could not talk about this stuff freely. We're talking about, thanks to few people here and there, they gave their lives. Few senators here and there, they went to Air Force last week, not other than today's. So I'm sorry, I'm holding you guys. This is important. Some lawmakers went to Nellis Air Force Base. Eric, you should know that. In Nevada. See, this is serious. I saw the video on TikTok. And they asked for seeing the evidence and the UAPs and aliens and stuff. And the Nellis General, Air Force General, he said, get out of here. This is classified. You're not supposed to be here, and we're not disclosing this stuff to you. So that really ring the bell to these guys, bring the committee today and more evidence on the stage. Thank God this happened. Today was the best day of my life. God kept me alive to see this day, that lawmakers and Washington asking the Air Force and the Space Force and the shadow groups and all the disclosure underground forces to disclose the evidence and bring the reality to life. That's a good day in America. That's a good day for humanity. But how much we should release this rabbit hole to public before they freak out before they pull the guns and churches go crazy against the government. I agree with those generals, but they're not sharing anything. That's a crime against humanity, our Constitution in America, our religions, our entities as a human being, our honor and dignity. And for every human being that you lied to them for 40 years, now they can't even say we lied to you 40 years, which was for many reasons. Since Eisenhower, a lot of shit happened. So with that said, I stop here, and I will ask, we start with our pioneer, Brad Olson. Hello, sir. How are you, sir? Brad Olson, our one of the oldest and the best speakers we had. We start with you. Go ahead, introduce yourself, and bring us to the light.
Hey, David, thanks a lot for having me on. And yeah, I got to cut out a little bit to go on ground zero, talking about the Giants, which is one of the shows I've done at the 5D events. It's great that you're doing the Alien event rebranded.
So many events with you and so many recordings.
Yeah, so many. And more to come. Yeah, I'll be doing my talk on the antediluvian civilization, polygonal architecture around the world, as well as maps of Antarctica, the ancient sea kings, as Charles Hapgood called them, showing Antarctica not years, not decades, but centuries before it was actually discovered.
That's right.
So you got to come to my talk at the 5D events. I'm also moderating the disclosure panel, the alien event disclosure. So that'll be good. And how pertinent to what's going on today with the congressional hearings. Now, I was flying all day today. I'm down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, doing filming for Billy Carson Secrets of Antarctica series for Forbidden Knowledge TV. But I missed the hearings, but I'm just seeing what people commented on in social media, and it kind of sounds like a nothing burger. But the fact that they're even bringing it up, the fact that it's even being discussed is a good thing. This is the little drip, drip, drip of disclosure. Now it's a pretty steady stream. It's in the news just about every week. You hear a new UFO alien story. So, and they're even saying they're finding
Brad, I don't want to attack anybody, but this gentleman, Eric, who has spoken at our event in Las Vegas about Antarctica a few years ago, and he was mentioning, oh, I was just a janitor over there. I didn't do much and this and that. And he was listening to all of us, and he didn't disclose anything. Now he's going live online and saying all this stuff about Antarctica. I really want to understand, what do you, without bringing his name down, some Eric out there, but what do you think about what he's saying and what he's saying about Antarctica?
Well, I know Eric Hecker. He's a good guy. He lived at the base, the Amundsen Scott South Pole Station, for 1 year and 1 day. I went to the Palmer Peninsula for 26 days on a sailboat. So we were in totally different parts of the continent. And he has a very scientific view of what kind of research was being done. He is starting to spill the beans when it comes to some of the exotic technology that they have at the South Pole Station, including seeing a giant laser beam going up into outer space. That was news to me. I hadn't heard him talk about that. Of course, we were together at the alien event in Vegas. What was it, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago?
That's right. Yeah, 5D events here.
Yeah, when it was 5D events. And so, but he was also talking about how the Ice Cube and some of the other programs require a tremendous amount of energy.
Neutrinos or whatever.
Yeah, the neutrino detector requires a tremendous amount of energy. So on his revelation at the press club with Stephen Greer 2 months ago, he was saying that there's no generator or way that you could generate that much energy. So he is saying that they probably have some free energy at hand there too. Now, where Eric and I differ, and he brings me up in some of his interviews and say, hey, Brad's a really nice guy, but he believes there's a giant hole in the ice. Well, I'm connecting data points, David. And not only was it Admiral Byrd who wrote in his diary that there was a gaping hole that he flew his plane into and saw this inner Earth civilization, well, under the ice Earth, but also some of Linda Moulton Howe's whistleblowers and others have reported a massive hole in the ice just about 30 miles from the South Pole. Now, Eric says, well, I was there. I think I would have heard about it or seen it. Well, not necessarily. Look, if there was a big HARP array 30 miles away and it was top secret,
that's right,
and you never heard about it, does that mean it doesn't exist? No, not necessarily. So
the other thing is he is attacking Eric on some theories Eric had on Facebook, and Eric got very upset, and then he started attacking me on a bunch of stuff and the event in Vegas. So I said, what the heck? Is this a misinformation agent or what? So I'm asking public, be careful what they hear out there. We've been touching and going this stuff, and we know a bunch of these people out there, but we don't want to name them or badmouth about anybody, especially some guys named Corey or Dick and Henry. I don't know. I mean, look, this thing is so deep. When I sat in Conscious Life Expo, first time I saw that guy with Corey shit, I knew he was fake, and I walked out of the room. Honest to God, I swear, I walked out of the room. I didn't feel good about the whole thing. After 20 years now, you guys been taken. Sorry about all of you, and a bunch of handful of number of other ones that we don't want to name them or get involved even with their energy, because they kept us back. They messed up this industry with dollars and their intentions of this egoism, ego, especially these some ancient alien speakers. God save us. It's all about money. Let us rob the bank, pay you guys. You guys get satisfied with this money business, so we get this disclosure going. We all unite, for God's sake. Jesus, I'm sorry, I'm losing. You go ahead.
So, yeah, well, let me just finish on the hearing today, because for your listeners who may not have heard the whole thing, the UFO hearings, as they were called in the lamestream media, one of the witnesses, this David Grush, who came out in early June, it was such a big story that they actually stopped the panel at Contact in the Desert to break the news. And now
I didn't know he was there.
He wasn't there.
Stopped the panel, though. Yeah,
they stopped the panel to bring it up. And what he's saying now is they have non-human bodies recovered, and government has recovered technology that did not originate on Earth.
Yeah, they testified today. Yeah, that's the biggest news of the history of mankind.
So yeah, exactly. And I told Carrie Cassidy, you got to get him on Project Camelot. She said, I'll try, but she said he's very scared. You can tell in his body language. He's got bodyguards. He is a reluctant whistleblower, and that's the kind of whistleblower you want, because he's really cutting into some very tender tendons here when he's uncovering this. Another big headline from today is pilot says he dodged, quote, mysterious dark cube floating in the sky. So now they're even talking about different kinds of UFOs, which I find is very fascinating. And don't forget, about 2 months ago, Lester Holt was on NBC Nightly News saying that there was a mothership in our solar system. And like you said, David, this is the biggest news story in the history of history.
It's huge, yeah.
And it's a one-off. They do one report on it and then leave it alone. So I'm kind of curious, and I'd like to hear what the other panelists think about this too. If we're not being set up for the alien invasion, that they're doing this predictive programming, because why now? They've had 75 years to do disclosure.
I tell you, before anybody else, because the event and attack, not the fake one, the real one, by two races, they're coming in because of CERN opened the gates already. And CERN is jumping up and down. Did you see their video? They were dancing in Illuminati signature. Hello, Alejandro. Please unmute yourself. We cannot hear you. So This is about CERN. Open the gates. They're all coming in now. They couldn't do it before. The gates are open, and they will land in your backyards like they did in Vegas 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Sorry, in June, in April 14. So they will land very soon. You better be know how to react and how to treat, and don't run away. Do not shoot them, because it'd be an end of humanity if you start shooting them.
Well, let's not shoot them down, but I'm just thinking that we're being prepped.
Okay, Brad, hold
I'd
on.
like to add into that Werner von Braun
please do.
and Carol Rosen also initiated a lot of this, like almost 15 years ago, where they predicted the rollout of a lot of asteroid technology, foreign nations that were of suspects, and then obviously the alien event. So there's a lot going on there for sure.
Hans, before we get to you, Mr. Eric Dadner, our pioneer 20 years ago. Hey, Brad, Eric, glad you're here. Please introduce yourself and say hello to the audience.
Good evening. My name is Eric Dadmer. I'm better known as Eric the Healer, and I'm very glad to be here. I've known Saeed from the 1980s at UFO conferences and many conferences, and then getting online, I found him Googling 11/11 because I was born 11/11 p.m. and his Alien Shift website popped up, which is really awesome. And I didn't realize it was the same guy I met in the 80s going to UFO conferences, and he was letting me help him putting things on his poster about fluoride and chemtrails and aspartame, and so it worked out that we got to get our information out, and it worked, and people started coming, and then finally when he got me into speaking, and it's been 10 years now. 2013 was the first time I started, and we have been pioneers in the movement, and we were surprised that we're laughing that we'd met each other before, and so thank you for giving me freedom to do things and get my information out there, because I was able to be a pioneer speaker on many topics about Mandela effect.
Long live freedom and our pioneers in freedom.
5G and the relationship to the jab, and we helped many people become speakers, and we attacked Hillary when it was dangerous to attack Hillary, and we've been attacked, and we've gone through a lot.
God attacked. Thank you. Hey, Eric, stop there. Let's allow Dr. Jonny Delirious. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you, David, for this opportunity. It's been a while since I've done any public speaking, and this is kind of like a new thing. As of 10 years ago, I used to do it all the time, but no one wanted to hear my story, my alien abduction or my recovery from life-threatening illness. All the other things, they always ran me out. MUFON ran me out. The doctors ran me out. The 12-step program ran me out, because I talk about healing from addiction and all these things that everybody said was impossible. And everybody said that my abduction was impossible. And everybody, so I, after a while, I just decided to just pull back and just help my patients. And then when I came across you and Mary and everything, kind of, you guys brought me out of the closet because I've been kind of hiding because I've been attacked everywhere I go. And I'm from a military town, so it was not unusual when I go to UFO meetings and things there that everybody's all military. Everybody's all military. There are very few regular folks. So that's my background, but I have themastersurvivor.com. That's my website, and I devised the Master Survivor program because it's all about survival. Because I should have died numerous times. My family, my brother, my sister, they said, well, a cat has 9 lives. You must have 20 because you were supposed to die so many different times. And I'm still here, so there's a reason for that. And I've always spoken the truth, and my recovery is real. and the doctor said that was impossible. But the reason I finally came over the edge into total healing and wellness was from the group Mind of the Greys. I found out
Which one?
those secrets there.
What's it
So
called?
I'll talk about that at the conference when I come over.
What's it called? The group?
Well, you know, I call it the alien mind melt, kind of like Spock when he did his mind melt. So when I got close to some of the Greys, I could come into their system, and they got both esoteric and hard drive system that are combined. And so it's all updated in real time. So these are just some of the things that I'm going to talk about that I discovered in my abduction. And as years went on, I helped my patients with some of this inside knowledge, so to speak. But I also have 40 years of laboratory experience in helping doing hair tissue mineral analysis and food programs and things like that, because food is the way to heal, because food is why we got sick. If we got sick, it's from food, you know? And I really like our panelists here. Eric, I'm just really glad to hear it. You know, the healer, you know, praise to you and for all your work that you're doing, because it's all about helping one another, and that makes the world go round, makes a better place. And it's not about, you know, everybody has the right to feel the way they believe, because everybody has different experiences. So everybody has a different mindset that they developed. And so
tomorrow,
I always try to
tomorrow
enhance
millions of ET will have their own mindset between us, living with us. They're working with Pentagon right now. I have evidence from my speaker, Dr. Bell, who they killed him because we don't want to go there right now, but he told me that next to him in Pentagon, a meeting, there was an alien ET human with all the scale, fish scale on his hand, and he tell him about a bunch of stuff that he freaks out. So, hey, guys, listen, they're all here. They're all on the synthetics on airplanes. We have 3-5 evidences, videos. People see them on synthetics. People see the synthetics in the government, shapeshifters, real ones, fake ones, all kinds. And we are the human ones, and humans are all aliens. We all came from other planets. They brought the Japanese from some planet, and that's why they're so different. Their dialect, their physics, every one of us, every race. Atlanteans, we landed in Mesopotamia, Iran, and Iraq, and all the Persian Empire. From Atlantis, from that area, India, and all these parts. We went through Europe. The history of man is they went through Croatia, and all. They have the same genome than us in Iran. And these are all history you have to study. And from there, they went to other parts of the world. And we all bunch of people from different parts of the world and cosmos. My apology, Dr. Jonny, go ahead.
Oh, no problem. It's good to hear your point of view. But just taking back just a little bit about me, before, when I was doing all my speeches in the 80s and early 90s, you know, I told them that I got along better with the Greys than the military, because the military, I couldn't get along with them at all. And they ran me out of MUFON. So then when I went to the 12-step programs and tried to tell them about my recovery from cocaine addiction, they said, oh, that's impossible, you know. I said, well, I like cocaine. That's why I did so much of it. And, you know, but I don't want to do it anymore, you know, because it's bad for my consequences. And the people in the back go, oh, Sean, don't say you like it, you know. So they ran me out of 12-step. The doctors ran me out of all those meetings that I went to, because I said that hepatitis and cirrhosis can be recovered totally. I got MRI and blood tests to prove it. So, you know, so I was ran out of everywhere, and I said, well, I'm just going to do my own and form the Master Survivor University, because, instead of training the doctors and everything, I just said, well, you can enroll in the university, and that way I don't have to fly around everywhere. So I just sort of narrowed my focus, and now that David brought me out, it's so wonderful that you did, and Mary, we went back on a few things that we had, in the 20 and back, you might call it, something like that. Then that's a whole nother story. But I said, well, okay, I won't do it in March, but I'll do it in September. So I'm coming, and you're going to get quite a, I wanted to bring ships, I wanted to bring skeletons, but you can't, necessarily do that. So I'm going to bring some pieces, and I'll put a ship in the chat if you want to see. That's one of them we're working on. The problem with the ships, though, is they have all this radiation. So that's been a real problem with working with the ships. So that's just a burden we're overcoming.
Let's hold off there. We get back to you. Mary Beaver, introduce yourself, please. How are you? Welcome.
Hi, I'm Mary Beaver. I have a webpage called adonatofsoul.us, and I'm going to try to cover who the Titans are, who the real aliens are, who we know as Anu, Enlil, Inky, and Ninhuasag.
I believe
who the masters of the world are.
I believe you claiming you're a super soldier.
I'm what?
I believe you claiming you're a super soldier.
Oh, yes, in the MK Delta Force programming of the deep space, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry. And then again, who the masters of the world are, what the ascension is, the AI, and healing processes from the ancient forbidden knowledge and stuff like that. I was able to share a little bit with Brad Olsen, a little bit we had up there in Mount Shasta. And I'm going to try to squeeze 2 more subjects in there. I haven't decided which ones, but it'll be fascinating, I think. So, and then a lot of the technologies that these extraterrestrials brought down to us about 100,000 years ago in exchange for land and kingdoms here.
Yes. Awesome.
So,
we are happy to have you, and hopefully audience will come in to Vegas to meet you. Otherwise, they can stream live at the website alienevent.com or 5dstream.com. Let's go to Hans Dietrich. Hans, how are you? Who are you?
Excellent. How are you doing,
What
David, tonight?
about? Introduce yourself, please.
So I'm Hans Dietrich. I'm kind of a new addition to this scenario. My background is in cultural mysticism around Buddhist philosophy and its relationship to Sirius, as well as the Dropa stones, the Drukpa people who are nomadic from Eastern Com Tibet, also related to Dropa, and their relation to Sirius as well. And so I keep finding in my research that Sirius pops up everywhere in Buddhist mysticism. And so it's very key that I'm trying to bring this to the forefront, because it's something that really hasn't been talked about before. And so I'm excited.
You have a new book coming out about
I do as well, yeah. So this is kind of the preliminary photo concept to it, but it is the Dropa book.
What is Dropa for the audience?
So the Dropa are a race of extraterrestrials that landed here 12,000 years ago. They intermixed and interbred with the Com Tibetans of Far Eastern Com Tibet in the Bayan Harshan and Bayan Kar Ula mountain ranges. There's a lot of really interesting overlap there. When the Chinese invaded Tibet in the 1950s, they forced a lot of these people into nomadic existence, and so they ended up traveling through Tibet, through Bhutan, where they became known as the Dropka, into northern India and Ladakh, where they become the Brokpa.
What year are we talking about?
So we're talking 1950 when that happened, but prior to that, I mean, they've been around here for a long time, and twice have landed. Some of the documentaries talking about this have discussed that they came 12,000 years ago. And if you look into the actual translations of what's on the stones. They came 12,000 years ago, but they also came again. And so it's the again that is the most part of the concept that I'm trying to.
Awesome. We're looking forward to your talk. Hold off there. Let me introduce Dr. Raul Valverde. Dr. Valverde, can you unmute yourself? You're muted, yeah. And tell us about yourself. Your microphone. I didn't mute you. You did. Can you unmute yourself? Here, I'm asking you.
You hear me now?
There you go. Yeah. Can you? Yeah. Go ahead and please tell the audience about yourself.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. I mean,
You're welcome.
a bit about me. I'm a professor of technology. I have background in electrical engineering and psychology. And in Montreal, I studied several years spiritual science and psychic sciences. So I became a spiritual science minister, which includes mediumship. And then after a number of years practicing, I started having contacts through the same mechanism that I use for mediumship. So that brought me to a new path of research. I started networking with people around the world. I was getting information about how the contacts work, and I met several scientists that helped me to understand better this phenomena. And the main paradigm that we're using to explain this type of contacts is what we call the quantum hologram theory of consciousness, that help us to understand a little bit about how consciousness works and how reality works. So these beings are multidimensional, and most of them don't live in the third dimension world. They live in different realities, different dimensions. And we'll try to use technology to induce what we call altered state of consciousness. So individuals can start having experiences with contacts. So what I do is I try to help people. We use different technology to measure energy, to measure consciousness, so we can understand a little bit about how these contacts can be initiated. I try to incorporate mediumship, psychic sciences into the experiments. I publish a lot of my work in something I call transpersonal exoconsciousness. And
your
a lot
book?
of it.
Your book is.
My book is mainly on neurotechnology and transpersonal psychology, but I'm about to publish a new book that is specialized in human initiated contact through these methods. But the idea is to understand a little bit about how consciousness works, a little bit of theory, and a little bit of the experimentation, help people to have the experience, because sometimes talking about things might be a little bit too difficult to understand, but if you actually get people to try it and to experiment it. So what I do is normally I try to initiate contacts with a group of people, and after the workshop we discuss experiences, so people can share their experiences and they can discuss what they felt, what kind of contacts they had, and that will basically help you, right, to understand a little bit about how the cosmos works and how reality works. The universe is extremely complex. It's pretty much about frequencies, energies, different dimensions. Most beings that contact us are not in the 3D world. They're in higher frequencies, and that requires us to understand a little bit about how to work with our own consciousness. Our own consciousness can...
Let me ask you something, Dr. Valverde. I'm apologizing for crossing your words. Some of these ETs, they talk telepathically, some don't. The other ones are showing graphics and symbols.
Correct.
So how would you decipher symbols? How would you communicate with these? Some do through harmonics and the community.
No, normally the way it works is that they use emotions. So you feel things. Like in part of the training is to learn mediumship. Mediumship works in the same way. It's through emotions, through intuition development. So you just feel things, So the same language is used to communicate to interdimensional beings. When you contact them, they use emotions and you just feel things. And some of them, they do use your own language. I mean, some of them, they start the contact through different, as you say, symbols or images or emotions, feelings. And some of them, they actually start, once you establish a contact with them on a regular basis, some of them, they actually use your own language. You know, they use English or Spanish or French. And you can hear them like the same way I'm talking to you, right? You go into alter states, so then you start hearing them like, like a little bit like a, voice in the background. And many times they take you out of your body and they bring you to other realities, other spaceships, things like that. So people can understand a little bit about how the universe works, So I collaborate with Ray Hernandez. Ray Hernandez has documented hundreds of cases that they had this kind of experiences. So we studied them. We try to understand how it works. We try to put a theory together so we understand a little bit about how the mechanism works in what we call, again, the quantum holographic theory of consciousness. So we can put into perspective what's happening, So I strongly believe that most contacts will be initiated this way because it's safe. Yourself, you initiate the contact. There's no need to have physical contact. So if you want to terminate the contact, all you have to do is say, I don't want to contact anymore, right? So it's a very safe way to do this. You are in control of the contact. There's no need to be in physical contact with the beings. And the beings also use the same mechanism to contact you. It's a little bit like a safe way to exchange information and to change communications, because you're never exposing yourself. You're most of these contacts are through outer states and through out-of-body experiences.
That's right. Yeah. Awesome. We're looking forward to your talks at the Alien event, September 14 to 17. Dr. Raul Valverde, directly flying from Vancouver. I'm sorry. Montreal, Canada. And we welcome you. Next is Alejandro Alex Gonzales. Sarah, can you unmute yourself? Yeah, that's good. Welcome to Alien Event Roundtable. How are you?
How are you, David?
Good, ¿cómo estás? Muy bien.
Muy bien. Aquí I am a native from Mexico City, and I am a contactee since I was a little boy.
Excellent.
I have been speaking since 2011. I have in national TV in Mexico several times. It stopped the program. Thanks a lot. I like the easier way, not to try to be normal.
That's right.
I haven't contact with Sirius system with that race since I was a little boy. I didn't know they were Syrians. I didn't know that aliens exist in my life. Right now, I am 53 years old. I have contact with them telepathically, yes. Not when I lie, but I will explain you in the event, in Las Vegas event. I travel a lot in Mexico City and Latin American countries because I speak Spanish. I even go to Barcelona, Berlin, and Valencia to even speak there. There's a lot of guys, a lot of persons that are living the experience, and they don't know they are living the experience. And of course, there is a risk. There is a risk because we don't know there is polarity in the universe. We don't understand that it is with positive energy or charge, and it is with negative charge too. So I have met both of them, several races, but I choose only to contact beings of light. I have been to motherships a lot, to Sirius spaceships a lot. I have been to Mars, to suns, to the sun, and some more planets that is not important.
They took you with their ship to Mars?
Yes.
Is that right? And was that in physical or in a spirit or
physical
dreams or what?
No, physical. I have been studying, even I met Raul Valverde because he's a scientist and he studied contactees in Latin American. I have been evaluated by psychiatrists, by therapists, by professional people that look at my natural language, my corporal language, because they want to see if I am telling lies. No, I have been with my body. I have been to Mars and the Sun and other planets with my body. Why? because they told me I did, because I tell them to do it before I incarnate here.
Did they jump the gate, or did they took many hours? How did they pass the Van Allen belt?
They pass it as quickly as I thought, because those beings move.
What kind
They
of
don't move
ship?
in
What kind of ship they have?
energy ships. All the fifth dimension beings, they are energy ships. They're not metals.
Did they land physically in your backyard?
No, I don't. No, of course not. They take them out of my bed, and even my wife is sleeping right next to me. I appear in the UFO, and then appear in the sun very quickly.
They have taken me once from the bed. My body was paralyzed, and I was under observation. I will talk at the event for a long time, and they discussed about all my life and all my physicality and everything. They knew everything about everything through the files. They would look at your whole life in 2 seconds through files. It's like we are uploading the whole being up there, and they're accessible by a lot of beings. So we're just like another robotics in a biological human type. So as much as you don't want to accept that, you all audience should know that we are one other kind of aliens.
Yeah, we are. We come from them. The humans are the most new race in the universe, and we have a lot of characteristics that other beings doesn't have. As an internal duality, we are capable of handle both polarity stuff inside of our aura. The scientist knows it. I only knows it empirical, practical. So it's not so important to talk about aliens. It's very important to talk about humans, because we don't know what we are. Believe me, we don't know what the power we have.
Exactly.
The energy we have in our aura.
Yeah, the ones who know, they're hiding us from our own selves to tell us what's going on, because the rabbit hole is so deep and it's so scary once the church people find out what really happened. And now, I'm sorry, who's saying something? Go ahead. Yeah, you were saying.
For me?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one of my experiences. I talk to people a lot, really a lot. Yes, David, you know me because I have Zooms in the mornings, Zooms in the afternoon. I have conference in the weekends. Hopefully, my family and my wife, they are holy because they really support me. So what I have what I have learned from this is
Mexico has such a great disclosure group, such a amazing. I see them on Facebook. I share their stuff, and I'm really glad that they let you guys free. They bog us down in the US. They don't let us do things from all angles. We are under supervision of many groups and agencies. So from Naval Intelligence Agency to, you name it, 50 more agencies, and now foreign agencies. Now Chinese are interested in us, and Russians want to know how much we know. Go ahead.
I want to say, let's get a couple minutes from Brad before he disappears.
Yes,
what do you think about that?
Yeah, Brad, also wrap it up before you go.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I do have to get going here in a second. I'm going on ground zero in a couple 15 minutes. Yeah, so it's all coming out right now. This is probably, I love history. I look back at all the eras and what got accomplished and the great civilizations of history. This has got to be the most exciting time to be alive.
That's right.
There's so much going on. And now that we're introducing the whole notion of making contact in a meaningful way, this is it. This is the zeitgeist of the age, you guys. And so the alien event is a perfect backdrop for bringing out all these different viewpoints and voices that we're hearing tonight. Mary Beaver and I had a great connection when we were in Mount Shasta for the summer conference last month. And I can tell you, she is a wealth of information. I'm not sure, am I doing the Super Soldier panel moderation, David?
Yes, sir, you are, yes.
Yeah, and that's going to be a great panel because
it is.
Here it is.
You go and knock the information that it's never been online with amazing people like them. And I'm glad that I live this day to see you all on stage. You know, I'm getting old, but with everybody's help that they donated, they helped us with even the speakers. Thank God today we paid the contract for a hotel, but we're still 10 grand short for rest of the fees. And I was asking Eric, go sell some exhibits. Anybody can sell exhibits for us. Please bring the vendors. We need money. We need ticket sales. The audience here or the ones who hear us later, please help us out. Donate. Call me 702-890-1290. I'm a public person. I have no fear from anybody. They can shoot me, and they shot me many times. 702-890-1290. Please donate to us. We are not ancient aliens. We don't have money. So we need to do projects. One of the projects I would like to publicly announce before you go, Brad, is let's create a 50-member internationally in Mexico, Brazil, in US, Russia, China. There's no religion, background, ethnic, politics, or nothing. A worldwide global committee on alien contact, whatever we call it. I will run that committee. I will put my name in front of the first contact when they land here. And it's not funny. We got to face these people and accordingly with the ethics of humanity, approach them not like animals. They see us as cockroaches. They say, why should we land when you guys are fighting 132 countries between yourselves? So people like me, myself, like Dr. Jonny, like Brad, like Eric, you guys should create, even if I'm dead tomorrow, you guys carry on. Create committees worldwide, online, offline, in person, in the countries, with meetings, events, or whatever, that we can come all together and broadcast. So these people out in the universe, they will hear us. Of course, they're hearing us right now. Of course, they greet
David,
us.
I do gotta get going. I just want to make a final statement, and that is to invite all the listeners out there to come to the 5D event, the alien event. It's doubling up. It's doubling up with the BIOMED, so you can also get a lot of new information about what's going on in the medical field. But also, just finally this, it's like you're going to binge watch YouTube videos for the whole weekend. You're just going to get so much information. And the great thing is you get to meet the speakers and buy their books and talk to them, which you can't do if you're binge watching on YouTube. So going to be a great event in September. Highly recommend all the listeners here to come on out to Las Vegas, the ALEXIS All Suites Resort, which you've done events there before, David. It's a great location.
Yeah, a lot of people know.
Big vendor area. Yeah. And so many wonderful speakers. So, hey, I can't wait to meet you guys and see you all at.
Thank you for coming in, Brad. Thank you. Have a good
Thanks,
evening.
Brad.
For your speech,
God bless. Write your
Cheers,
books.
guys.
You're a publisher too. Great job on Antarctica. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, Brad.
With that said, let's go back to who was Eric. You want to carry on a little bit? Let me take a break.
I'm just so
Eric will run it.
I'm sorry, Mary. I didn't say hi in Shasta. I was up there.
Oh, well, I was, so I didn't go into the event. I did to help out a friend who was working, and she ended up getting sick. So I told her I'd work for her. So I was there. I was the one that looked like the cyber cop.
Okay.
So yeah, I was just kind of, there's no low profile with my hair, but yeah.
Good. Next time I would have said something if I had, looked closer. I don't know. So,
well, like I said, it wasn't announced. I wasn't speaking there. I went up because some friends were there. We were all staying at a bed and breakfast, and so Brad Olsen was staying there too. So we had like a little private meeting, and not meeting, but just sharing information. And I was able to bring up some of the forbidden knowledge, and I showed him that. So yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I didn't go to the party, so that's why I didn't see you there. If I'd gone to the party, I would have seen you.
Oh no, I didn't go to the parties. I don't I don't partake in some of those things.
Okay. Well, I mean, there
Yeah.
was at the bread and breakfast what he was doing, his friend. But yeah, this is really an exciting time. That I'm so glad that you're part of us in Vegas,
Me
and
too.
it's really good that. And things that we are forgetting to say is Hans does our poster. I met Hans in Contact, and
Thank you. Yeah.
I was telling him about, my show, and he goes, I do the, that's where I recognize you. I do these posters, he goes. So it was
Nice
really,
poster, Hans.
Sorry.
yeah,
what?
nice posters, Hans.
Nice poster.
Yeah, I do a lot of graphic design for a lot of people in this community, and so I appreciate that connect. And even this, so now I have a voice to speak. So this is awesome. Yep.
Wow, I just recognized Julia. Hi, Julia.
Welcome to the fold.
Is that Julia? I think so.
Yep. We want to hear from you.
Yeah, she has to unmute her. I don't know if she can hear us. Hi, Julia. Say hi. So I don't know, maybe there's a time delay. It's funny, but it's wonderful to meet so many people and get us together. And it's going to be a great show. And of course, we're doing 2 shows at once. We'll be doing BIOMED Expo and Alien events. So, people go and bounce back and forth. So I can't understand why this isn't going to be, the off the hook conference, because people who buy tickets will be able to go to both sides, and we're pioneers in bringing out all the information on how to detox all these bioweapon jabs and how to get healthy and
Serious. Yep.
There's
so
no reason to suffer.
right, there isn't. So, and I look forward to seeing you all in person and whatever. I'd like to hear from Julia. Hi, Julia. Julia, speak. Can you hear me? I don't know.
Let me comment
can't-
and fix her up.
Yeah.
Can you hear
I
me?
guess
Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
we can.
there you
Yeah.
go.
I mean, I had to
Hi,
test the audio.
Julia.
Awesome.
Hello,
Welcome to the
Julia,
fold.
welcome.
Yay.
Hi. What'd I miss?
A lot of good
Everything.
stuff. The
Nothing.
best part,
Go forward.
you will hear it later. We will upload it.
Well, we just want to say hi and have you introduce yourself, and thank you for joining us.
Hi, my name is Julia, and I will be speaking at the event. And I am a remote viewer and a seer. So I discussed things that I've come across and experienced. And yeah, I really am into ancient civilizations and ancient technology and holistically purifying your system and really learning like how to thrive. So we could be like high performance.
And you
Sure.
talk about Tartaria.
I talk about Tartaria.
Yay.
Yeah, I talk about Tartaria and
That's
I
good.
talk about Inner Earth. I did a show on Vice about Inner Earth.
Uh-huh.
And so that's what I focus
Tell us
on.
about the inner earth. What does it mean to you and what's going on?
What does the Inner Earth mean to me? Well, it's deep, and imagine like a heaven with like 3 or 4 layers of hell around it.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Hans, what you said?
I said Mount Meru. Interesting.
Well, where is that? I hear about it.
In Tibet. It's part of my speech. So anyway, go on.
Oh, okay.
Julia, seriously. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
Julia,
Yeah, what-
keep talking, or we can bring you back later if you're not ready right now. Tell the audience what's good about you, why they should come to Vegas to meet you. Why should they stream you live? These are important things they don't know about you. That's why I don't want to sell you too much. You're a precious gem, and a lot of people don't know you.
well, I'm definitely unlike anyone you've ever met.
Okay.
For I have gifts and abilities, and for a long time I never wanted to share that. Like a part of my heart was like, just keep doing the work, and then the other half of me is like, no, people can benefit from what you have learned and what you know. And I feel like sharing that is important. And basically coming out was a big deal for me, you know. But it all started like a part of my journey started like I would have visions and stuff, and I was shown like a lot of ancient symbols that ended up being like before 15th century alchemical symbols. And it started like my journey, and you know, shown like ancient formulas and ancient symbols of an ancient language. So right now I'm learning Sumerian, and that's fascinating. And I'm also working on this tablet that was found. Wyatt Earp discovered it, and he discovered it and gifted it to his best friend, who was his mining partner and also a pallbearer at his funeral. And he gifted it to him, and now it's in his family. And they've been trying to go to museums and get it, you know, dated and tested and off, you know, but it predates textbook history, so you can't really get it, you know, you can't get support in that community really. So decoding it has been rather interesting. There's ancient beings on it with elongated skull. They're calling it the Tablet of Inanna. And it's 3 ancient languages on it. Proto-Sumerian, cuneiform, and the third one. And these tablets seem to hold a huge part of our history. And I feel like it's some of the most hidden information is what these tablets say and what they hold.
Is that right? They found 6,000 tablets in Iraq, and they are hiding it, and they're not telling the public what's written on it. And is it 600 or 6,000?
Well, I know that the Hobby Lobby guy, the guy that owns Hobby Lobby, like all his were confiscated except for a handful of them. They were trying to say this belongs to Iraq. And there's a lot of that going on with antiquity, where like they were, I think Egypt was asking for Queen Nefertiti back, or like the sculpture of her, and Germany was like, no, we're holding on to it. We're an ambassador for this. Like, so there's a lot of countries trying to fight for these ancient relics of like, where does it go? But, you know, things just because of that, just because it was found in, you know, it was found in America, that doesn't, in that language on there doesn't mean it belongs in Iraq. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and in Iran, in Jiroft, part of Kerman, a few years ago, they found the Anunnaki king, and his body was intact. After many thousand years, they opened the grave. The man is sitting down like he just died yesterday, and many people seen that the video. They say he was found in Iraq. It was not correct. It was in Iran. Some
the guy with the beard and all the gold.
Some grave diggers found it, and by the time government got to the grave, a lot of things, who knows what was missing, but they arrested a bunch of stuff. And this is a deep stuff, and what I'm trying to say is what is amazing, after a few thousand years, the body was intact. It was not mummified. It was not a skeleton, and that mesmerizes me. Eric, what do you think? How the body stayed 10, 20,000 years, wherever, in the ground like that? And he was
it's the perfect conditions of the mummification, the air.
No, it was not mummified there.
I know, but the air and the desert and it's the environment that preserves it.
You don't believe because who he was? God King or whatever?
Well, also that too, but also they do a special process of actually they were alive, and when they found them, we screwed it up, and they died. Are you talking about the Anunnaki giants they found in Iran?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we broke the seal and screwed up the machine or something and killed one of them. But I remember that when they went to one of those, I saw a live video, and that guy's skin was fresh. He was alive.
Exactly.
And they pinched him and showed it, and you could see the hair and everything. This guy was alive.
They're saying it's Nimrod. I think they call it Nimrod when you look for it.
Yes, it is Nimrod. It is exactly. Very good.
You guys have studied more about this stuff. I don't have the time or
There's a-
energy.
There's a
like
connection to
I
the
used to.
Tarim and the Dropa as well with this. So yeah.
Right. Right. And see, these are the builders. I mean, they're given reference that these are the builders of these megalithic structures. And, you know, you were saying 12,000, it's really closer to 12,500 or even 13. But that's because they looked at the water lines on the Sphinx and realized that's when the flooding was from that time, because they want to make the pyramids only 5,000 years old when they're really much older. You
Yeah,
know?
Atlantis was 25,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And there's a planet Atlantis. Atlanteans came to Mediterraneans called Atlantis. What Plato wrote was about, he was looking at Atlanteans in that area. But Atlantis was a planet, Atlanteans that did not live on the planet Earth, but they came here. And later on, we are genetics from them too, and bunch of races, Aryans and other races came back from them. And
you know what's really interesting is what I'll be talking about is the land beyond the ice wall that we're surrounded by. That
yeah,
we
that's
think
a good one. Thank
that
you.
we think is Antarctica. We think we're, you know, there's an Antarctica. There's no Antarctica. We're surrounded by Antarctica. There's an ice wall a couple 100 feet high, and there's gates that open up and go out to Mars and Atlantis and Thoth and all these stories. I've been watching these videos. I sent you a link, Julia. I don't know if you had a chance to watch it, but there are these Italian PNC, and it's about 6 hours long. He put all the videos together, and he shows the land beyond the ice wall gates, and he talks about all the explorers. And what's interesting is there's other stories that correspond to this from the Iron Republic. I've got a book with about the Iron Republic, and that's C.J. Austin, and basically they say the same story about Captain Butler, and how they went, you know, after the war, they bought the ship and went through and navigated, and they talk about it. What's great about it is it explains all the myths. You know, you got Merlin, you got the dwarves and the hobgoblins. They even talk about Island of Parasites and even Island of Dinosaurs.
Let's have Julia continue with her story. That would be awesome.
Yeah. This is
what fascinated me a lot with viewing it, for me, was this field that protects the core, like the core inner Earth. It's like imagine a security system that you can't see, it's impenetrable. And so that really blew my mind of like, whoa, like, how do you get around? It's like the ultimate defense system. And from what I was shown and everything I experienced, it was like a matter of heart and purity that is able to enter, you know. So it's like a faction of beings, or maybe obsessed, imagine them being obsessed with getting into that place and trying to incorporate with certain bloodlines and DNA and doing certain things to get to this place. And but how it's impenetrable, really. And then it was like, you know, conquistadores of the heart, you know, like pilots and navigators of the heart are able to enter, and, you know, about bridging together masculine and feminine, and the heart purity level, and cleansing yourself of certain things and living a certain way. And that, you know, is like a way to reach that destination.
That's interesting.
You have to have the right vibrational frequency to get through, and it's I like that people are learning how to get. They're multidimensionals, other dimensions, and other.
What I found fascinating too is like 3 or 4 layers of hell that surround heaven. Like, God, that's a brilliant defense system, really. Like, even though there's already like this invisible defense system that surrounds it, and but it's like the fact that such darkness and terrible thing, it's not like it's not all roses under there. Like, there are some dark, nefarious things that go down in between that point and that point, and it's intense, and horrific things happen. And it's also very interesting that in national parks, how many disappearances there are.
Yeah, I
and
hear about that.
portals, and they all have, even in the early 1900s, and they talk about a portal type thing opening up, and they're there and they have different experiences. But the ones that are not found, and that, like things that are, they have a blood disorder. So I'm like, wow, when you enter, what, like how they know that. And then, what, it always comes back to the DNA in the blood. Always.
That's right.
And that, I try to say that too, of like, imagine, because my family, they don't really talk or believe in this stuff, but I was trying to talk to my sister, and I was like, well, she's a Taurus, so her family's all Tauruses. So they, like, the way you love a Taurus is like through food. It's like, but so I was like, if you and your family only could survive, like the people you were
Mary's
close
Taurus,
to.
are you?
Me? What?
Mary, are you Taurus?
No, I'm a Cancer, but I do have Taurus in the family, and the ones that come to the party for the food. So it was funny she said
Is that right? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the way to love Taurus's heart is through food. They're here to experience their
Yeah.
senses, touch, feel, like all of their senses. Like,
And
it's like
Cancer,
Leos
we
are
are
very
emotional.
similar too.
so I was like, let me
Yeah.
use an example. I was like, they're all
Hans,
such
what are
different-
you?
So
Oh, I'm a Virgo and a fire dragon, but
Oh, fire dragon.
yeah, the fire dragon aspect is more of me than anything else. Anyway, go on.
Dr.
please.
Jonny, what are you? What is that?
Aries.
Aries.
Capricorn.
Wow, very creative.
Oh,
Sagittarius.
Capricorn.
Sagittarius or Capricorn?
Sagittarius.
Who is Sag?
Yeah, Sagittarius.
He says Aries.
I'm a
Aries or
Cancer.
Sag, Johnny?
Yeah, the arrow with the horse, is the
Oh, is that Sag?
Sagittarius.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was telling
You're
her, I
a
was like,
Scorpion, you, Eric.
look,
You're
if
the one
you're,
venomous animal.
I was like, if your family could only survive off of bunnies, like rabbits, like bunnies, I was like, you would have a whole bunch of bunnies. You would live, like, you better believe you would be stocked on bunnies. And then to think of like humans, if there's civilization, if there's beings that they could only survive living off of certain enzymes and certain things that are found in humans, as dark as that is, it's like, it's a harsh truth,
Yeah.
So,
Didn't the Tartarians live on plasma because there are no bathrooms in those buildings? And I think they lived on plasma. They were like
breatharians.
breatharians, right?
what's that to do with bathrooms?
Well, there were no bathrooms in these old buildings, and the Tartarian buildings, the
They were doing
chimneys weren't used when they
samadhi
leave.
breathing and breatharianism. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
They're
Wait,
monatomic gold.
this is getting deep. I didn't know about that.
Interesting.
Breatharians.
Right.
They didn't eat.
They didn't. They
way.
because they really, and because when we eat food, we get the plasma out of the food. That's what we're plasma, divine beings of light and plasmic beings, and we live on plasma. And
What
you
kind
know,
of evidence do you have for that?
well, look at Dr. Kesh when he made these
There's
plasma.
breatharians out there.
Yeah, there's Etherians, those beautiful Ukrainian
I'm
models
talking
that live
about-
on.
I'm talking about Tartarians. What
I know,
kind of
but
evidence
Tartarians-
do you have they were
Remember
breatharians?
Mehran Kesh when he made his enterically coated stuff, it was giving plasma. He noticed that people weren't eating as much food and the plants didn't want water
Yeah, in
because they were
space.
feeding on the
Yeah,
plasma.
we could do that in space, but what do you have on Tartaria about that?
There's
That
lots of
changes
things.
everything.
Yeah, there's no bathrooms in the buildings. So where are they going to bathroom?
Well,
So,
maybe
So
and
Eric,
also-
if I could intercede on that, as a mother, when you're in the hospital and you give birth to your child, and when you breastfeed, the child doesn't actually urinate or have a bowel movement for several weeks because their body
Right.
uses everything. So, but unless you give them formula, then they will urinate and they will have a bowel movement because the food's poisonous. So if you're
Right.
eating to your cellular level,
Ding,
you don't
ding,
have to
ding.
use the bathroom because your body uses it all. So
Right.
that's where that comes from. And that's what a lot of Dr. Jonny does is he goes down to the cellular level of what your individual cells need to survive and be healthy and, clean all these. And he doesn't quite have the forbidden knowledge, but he has the only stuff that is taught within a lot of the Shaolin monasteries. So,
Right.
because believe it or not, they don't go to the bathroom a lot either.
Yeah,
Shaolin?
I believe that.
They don't?
Because they do those
This is true in Buddhist practice. There is
meditation. They're
Mhm.
meditation for years in a
Well, the
position.
Buddhist monk
sure.
is different. They don't need to do anything. They're on and off the grid meditation vibration.
No, they're finding out they're light beings, and there's a lot of this going on, and
And you have different levels of masters too. So right now there are no ascended masters on the planet, and all of them had to leave within the last 200 years because
Right.
the current masters are actually being tested, and the ascended
Yeah.
masters cannot interfere with the test. So whether these masters, whether they're shaman, a Shaolin, any master who calls himself a master is literally being tested. So I've even talked to Illuminati people who have lost their ascended masters. You know, they either faked their death or they just disappeared or whatever, and they're confused. The issue I had with that is they didn't tell them they were leaving. I was like, wow, these guys just kicked the bucket and said, you're on your own. I hope you make it. So now you even have Shaolin masters running around the world looking for the ascended masters because they feel lost. They don't understand they're actually in the middle of a test. So
I see. This is deep, interesting. Hey, Julia, you should dig into that more about Tartaria
Yeah, please
and
do.
find out what's going on about eating.
Okay.
oh, and Dr. J, I think we can't hear you. So there might be something wrong with your,
Okay, how about that?
Oh, it's
There you
better
go.
now. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, good.
yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about so far what we said, Johnny?
Well, I'm dealing with the mineral level. And so balancing the cell is what it's all about, because we are our cells. It's like a brick house. Without the bricks, there is no house. Without the cells, there is no body. So, I'll balance the cells, then all the systems will balance. So it's a foundation. That's where it all starts. The spirituality and the frequency and the ascension can all come off of that. But if you
Right.
don't have balance in the cells, then you're not going to hit the target.
Balance in the cell. How do you do that
Right.
with the balance?
Mineral.
Yeah, I do the hair tissue mineral analysis, and I've been doing that over 40 years, and I'm probably the top
So
expert in the world on it.
it shows you need potassium or magnesium.
Right,
within
it
them.
shows 38 different minerals, and so from that we can determine what foods you should eat, what foods you should avoid, because we all got sick from the foods we eat. Now some of it's toxic, but then some of it's just the wrong food for us. And once we know our chemistry, we can get the right food for us, and eventually we get to that balance because we got the right food.
Do you believe what Dr. Berg says? We need 4,000 milligrams of potassium every day minimum, even more?
I want to see your chemistry first.
No, I mean, regardless of chemistry, do you believe we are short on potassium, all the humanity, and we need 50 times more, 100 times more, 4,000 milligrams per day?
Well, I think we're short of copper.
Copper?
Copper. Because
What is
the
that?
potassium and everything else will fall right into place. We are all probably 95 or 98% of the world is copper deficient. The older we
Copper,
get,
oh.
the less copper we have.
Is copper toxic if you take too much? And what's copper good for?
That's what they say. That's what they say.
They don't want you to take
But
it.
years ago, just think back when, in our early revolution history, Paul Revere and George Washington and everything, they cooked with copper utensils. They cooked
Store
everything.
their water in big copper containers too, because when you store your water in copper, it disinfects it.
How many milligrams of
exactly
copper?
right.
Wow.
How much copper?
And so if you get
supposed
like
to
if
take
you could get a
daily?
copper canister and just drink water out of that, like drink like a bottle of that a day, that'll help you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Or you could take a penny and put it in your crock pot and probably get over a lot of your problems. I'll give you a real quick
I just got my copper. Sorry if I can show this. It's a 2 milligram capsule. How many milligram you supposed to take?
Well, you can work your way up. I'm taking about
Everybody's
150 or 200 milligrams a day now.
How many?
150 or 200 milligrams a
Are
day.
you serious? It doesn't hurt
But you
you?
got to work your way up.
You have to work, yeah, because it can. Dr. Johnny got me on it months ago with my kids and I, and we take the drops, and we got up to 20 drops, and then I went on vacation for a week, and we came back, and we didn't take the drops with us, and so we have to work our way back up again. Because basically, if you look it up, if you're in the copper sulfate, it's like a pesticide too. So it's what they use to actually keep the pests off of our vegetables and stuff, because I was an agricultural farmer, and we would put it in the water so that the bugs wouldn't be on our fruits and vegetables. So it's going to get it out of you. So when you have a headache or your body and your stomach feels sick, it's not you that's actually sick, it's the parasites in your body that are freaking out. So they're like secreting all these hormones and chemicals to hurt you, so you'll stop drinking that.
Well, they also
Because
send out a
it's
fluid.
toxic
They
to
send out a
them.
fluid that tells your brain like it
Mhm.
demands it demands certain sugars and certain things.
I
So
tell
it
you-
sends that neurotoxin.
I tell you something
Yeah.
saved my life is this potassium powder, like Dr. Berg said, and I take a spoonful every day. It's a powder you get from Amazon. Not the FDA doesn't allow more than 99 milligram in a capsule. This you take a big shitload of a spoonful every day. It really juiced me up as an old man, and I'm normal now with this. Thank God. Thanks to Dr. Berg,
Mhm. There's
Dr.
nothing
Berg,
wrong
he's
with
got
that.
18 million viewers on YouTube. We invited him to come to our event, but he doesn't have time to shit.
Copper does kill parasites. And, when I wear copper on my wrist, I notice that when my body has had enough copper, then it starts to turn green. And that's when I know that I've had enough, and I take it off, and then I put it on again, and I get more copper. And in the bazaars in Iran, they make all these copper trays and pots.
Oh,
and,
yeah, the tensols. And
and that's
they
to kill
eat
the
with the
parasites.
copper
and-
tensols, yeah. And this,
Right.
Well,
you're right.
Let me give you a quick story. Here we spray all our vegetables with this, toxic spray that has fluoride in it. Okay, so the vegetables get fluoride on it.
Right.
But they say there's, that French miracle, where French don't have the heart attacks. You've heard of the Mediterranean diet. Oh, it's the red wine they drink. Well, that's important too, to get the proanthocyanins to have the antioxidant activity. But the French spray all their grapes and all their vegetables with copper sulfate solution.
Oh,
That
So-
is why they don't have the heart attacks, because all heart
Yeah,
attacks,
exactly.
you ask any medical doctor, all heart attack victims have a lack of, or low copper in their body.
this
Every
is a
single-
this is a disclaimer, ladies and gentlemen. We are not physicians. We are just bringing our own research. This is please refer to your doctors. We don't want FDA calling us. Thank you
Well,
so
we're
much.
not giving
Dr.
medical
yeah.
advice.
Yeah, we are not
We're-
giving a
Oh.
medical advice, and this recording is just a talk to bring information and not the healing that you need from your doctors. So call your doctors, and they will give you more prescription, and you pay more money. And I just paid $250 for my diabetes pill, which made me more sick. So I want my money back, and they don't give my money back. So I'm not taking medicine anymore. I would love to die in peace. Fuck you guys. And we will not go to doctors anymore.
But
Did
the
you-
doctors
did you
are
get the-
key, and all the medicines they prescribe are key, and we need to do that. Anyway.
Well, this,
Chromium picolinate. Did you get
would
chromium
you stop
picolinate?
moving that camera, please, Eric?
I wanted to say chromium picolinate and vanadyl sulfate. They both help balance your blood sugar. I was wondering if you got
Well, it
those.
does, but mine is too high, and I'm at the best thing is intermittent fasting, 12
It
hours,
is with liver
16
cleanse.
hours, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yay,
And I've been
liver
eating-
cleanse.
I'm sorry,
Liver
sir?
cleanse.
Johnny,
Liver
what?
cleanse.
Yay, liver cleanse.
Johnny, your weight is so amazing. Your age, I should follow you, and what you do in your life. What do you eat, sir? Are you vegetarian?
No, I followed the HTMA, the hair tissue mineral analysis. I was born in 1953, and I just get the foods that I need and avoid the foods that I don't. And it's all based on chemistry.
Oh, okay. So what do you recommend we don't eat, what do you recommend we do eat?
Well, I'd have to test your hair, and in a show, in it, I give
You
the
can't test 100 million people in the world. Just give them some advice. That what's your recommendations in general?
Well, you can always drink more water. That's, get clean water, drink more water. Most people are dehydrated.
Exactly. I agree.
Batman Mazatzin, he's from Iran.
Wait, Eric.
Foods that
Eric
produce
only drinks.
mucus.
Eric only drinks. What's that called? Eric, the special water.
John Ellis water, distilled water from John
Distilled water.
Ellis.
What do you think about that, Dr. Johnny? Do you
Well,
recommend distilled water?
I put minerals and stuff in it, but
I recommend more water for everybody because I think his name was Batman Mazatzin. He's from Iran, and he wrote the body's many cries for water. That was his book.
He wrote Water and Salt, and he was a good doctor. I think he's dead or whatever.
Magic live water. I'll just say.
So most people are dehydrated.
Everybody's dehydrated. And what do you think about plastic water? Is full of chemicals in there.
Well, I mean, that's only for a temporary purpose. Try to get the best water when you can, but any water is good. Just try to get clean water if you can.
Okay, all right. Mary Beaver.
I was sorry. When I was up at Mount Shasta, I had some of that volcanic water.
Oh.
And yeah, talk about like, I would say a total cellular level of cleansing. I would recommend something that if you can get a hold of volcanic water or water that comes out of volcanic, hard volcanic rock. I actually had high blood pressure because I'm naturally hyperactive because I have Asperger's and my mind can't shut down. And my blood pressure was up like to 179 and 124, and my heart was about to explode because I took away all the downers that were built up in my system. And it was, so for someone like me, I mentally, I can't handle being naturally on this planet. So I have to have downers. And downers to me are not downers to you guys. Like coffee is a downer. Soda to me is a downer. Sugars are downers. Pot is something that makes me really hyper and out of control, and I'm looking through windows all crazy like. So I have different ways of adjusting. So everything got cleaned out, and I didn't eat for 2 days. I wasn't hungry. I didn't even need water. I was like, this is weird. This is what the Native Americans talk about, the living water. So it's funny when you mentioned that, Eric, or Hans.
Wow, that's interesting. So water can change lives. Yeah, definitely.
Living water.
Eric.
Well, the Native Americans talk about it. Why? Because when the white people came over, they say they drink and they consume too much and they eat too much. Because when they go to the rivers, when it was a living water source, you just took what you needed. You ate what you needed. One deer could feed a whole village. And again, if you really want to talk about the waste of the food that we eat, study tribes. I mean, you've got about 130 people living in one tribe. Where's their bathrooms? They don't have.
No, listen to this. You don't eat 1 gallon of ice cream every night in front of TV like some Americans do. They love it and they munch it, or 50 bag of popcorns and 200 bag of chips. You don't do this kind of crazy stuff. Public is misinformed, and they advertise and blast them with these mind control ads. You got to buy this TV. You got to eat these chips. You got to take these drugs. And I don't know why the drug companies all day are on TV advertising their drugs. This is something our politicians should stop. These drug companies putting their advertising on national TV.
They're all making money from the lobbies. We'll leave it at that.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So sorry, I'm going off the tracks all the time. Dr. Johnny, what are you going to talk about at the event exactly?
Well, I'm doing a talk at the Medical Expo as well as the Alien event. And so at the Alien event, I'm going to tell about my abduction and how I learned about some of the secrets from the group Mind of the Greys. And at the medical event, I'm going to talk about the experience I gained from my father, and growing up in high school, I had hepatitis A and hepatitis B, or our group did. And so I learned about that. And then by the time I got in the laboratory, I had that background. And then there was politics. And I'm bringing that up, how it influenced medical practice and how it's changed. And I've got historic evidence that's fact. So no one can argue with what I have, because my father was a medical doctor.
Oh,
And
okay.
he, was a Tulane graduate, and those graduates there at Tulane were very instrumental in that time period. So he graduated in 47, and Oxner was one of his main people. Oxner was one that made no smoking or smoking dangerous. He got the cigarette warning labels put on all tobacco products. And then later, Oxner Clinic got secondhand smoke labeled as dangerous as well. So, they were more holistic because after that, everything kind of changed. Like my dad always said, he said, well, the bureaucrats got a hold of it, and now it's all about making money and not about health. So that's what he said.
God bless his soul. Yeah.
Yeah, and I learned early on how it all worked back when my dad quit in 1970. So I'm going to tell a little bit about that, because it's all factual how we developed. Because after all, back in the day, they had Dr. Bates asthma cigarettes, help your asthma, and you could smoke the asthma cigarettes, and the more you smoke, the better
I
your
didn't know
asthma's
about
gonna
that.
be.
Huh? Interesting.
Yeah,
Huh?
I'll show the advertisement.
And they used to say sugar is good for you in
Oh.
the early days. I didn't know that. And they then started saying fluoride. Your kids have to take fluoride every day. And these kids, when they brush their teeth, they swallow the fluoride, which is poison, and it goes to their brain. And no wonder half of the kids are all Goonies now when they grow up like me. So
Reading Tide
Well,
Pods.
I'm
I'll
sorry.
tell them, Mary. I'm going to tell them it's the lack of
Tell 'em
copper
what?
that causes the calcium, too much calcium in your body. When you get the fluoride, it bonds with the calcium
Oh,
fluoride,
okay.
and then that goes into your
Pineal
pineal gland,
gland, yeah.
calcifies your pineal gland.
What's the
So,
best way to crack the pineal gland?
well, drink a lot of get more copper. Mary's doing, and Mary, you're looking great, by the way. Just wanted to tell you, it must be
Oh.
that copper you're
So,
drinking.
Mary, you saying copper saved your ass? Sorry, I'm up.
It helps a lot. Like my kids drink it when we had a big gallon water, and my son was like, Mom, where's the gallon of water? It's gone. He's like, I can't drink the regular water. It's helped
that
him a
right?
lot because he's got some liver issues. Because when he was a baby, he was put on steroids because the vaccines caused a lot of issues. And I got in trouble by the FDA for healing him. But there were side effects of the drugs.
How did they
had him
find
on.
out?
I went to the doctor and I said, hey, I want to try this. I was poking around in white cells, and she was like, well, 10 years ago I would have told you no. So in secret, she gave me a bunch of like lab work or lab stuff to separate cells, and my office turned into a lab, and I discovered 3,072 white cells that could be used for different uses, different
No way.
sequences, and I ended up, yeah. So after a year, he went from 17% lung capacity on a permanent machine. I had a friend build a machine backpack so he could go out and be a kid, but he still had to have this mask on so he could breathe. And 1 year, he went to 100% lung capacity. So,
Interesting.
and then I accelerated my son's autism so he could speak. And then I had a heart deficiency because of seizures. One of my valves was pumping blood backwards. So I was on a list for heart defect. And I had a brainstem tumor that started right here and ended up into connecting to my retina. And they said they would have to take that out, but I'd be blind in this eye because they had to cut the retina off.
Did Dr. Jonny help you in healing?
No, this I did on my own. This was back in between 2013 to 15. But yeah, I'm listed as a biotechnical civilian scientist federally, but yeah, I won't give my technology to them. So because I'm not a licensed doctor, they're not going to allow me to treat anybody. And I was like,
Okay.
okay, one day.
And you were in MK Ultra.
hmm
You want to talk short views about that?
So what well, everybody's under MK Ultra. Just figure which part you were on. I was under the MK Delta programming. So I mean, you've got many different. You've got MK Gamma, MK Alpha. There's many different programs. The Ultra program is just an umbrella program. There's other programs underneath it, and then from
So
there
what was
it sequences
Delta about?
down. Deltas are assassins. They mean death. I've death dealers, if you will. Not that was my job. I didn't go around killing people, but in the space programs, we did deliver. I delivered people for the slaughter or the harvest, if you will. So it wasn't me physically doing it. Our planet's been harvested
involved
3
in
times.
alien projects?
No. No, so part of the stuff that I would be talking about is what they do with the splicing of the humans. So no, Cora, please don't. Sorry, my daughter is trying to butt in.
Okay.
Let me pull it up. But so one of the programs that they it's called cryo bioengineering humans. The first ones that were brought here were cryo bioengineered, and they were the slaves, and those are the ones that Inky and Enlil, obviously talk about. But then they interbred with the local humanoids, which that's when they discovered thousands of years later that they could actually engineer their blood type. But they didn't realize the engineering part until one of the fall of the angels. So the first fall was an archangel, but we won't get too much into it. But
how long ago they brought us to this
vampire.
planet? How long ago they brought the first humans to the Earth? How many millions or 100 year, 1,000, or what's your knowledge about that?
So when you understand where we're at, we are in the cradle of life. So what that looks like is we are the planet that creates life. Each species of life gets 2 million years to grow itself. Kind of like when we have our children, we're in the uterus part, life bursts, it has 2 million years to mature. If it doesn't mature, it gets wiped out, erased, and maybe they do it again later. So the oldest form of humans were here about 1 billion years ago, and then they left, went to their galaxy, harvested the crap out of it. They didn't know how to adapt themselves. So they came here about 100,000 years ago, but they've been conquering a lot of galaxies about 1 million within the last 1 million years. So this is where the harvest comes in, because when they came here, being the cradle of life, the life stones are here, which is the crystals that the Atlanteans were guarding, right? And that's why they were attacked. But Atlantis wasn't attacked until I think about 63,000 years ago. And Dr. Jonny has some of those tablets that I transcribed showing the time frame. So that was fascinating.
Did you say 60,000 years ago?
Yeah, about 63,000 years ago, yeah. So, but it was an attack on the crystals.
That changes a lot of things.
It does. And that I told you I was going to throw a wrench into everybody's thing.
Well, I'm glad to have you as a speaker, and we're looking forward to meet you, and public should know you. And that's my job, to bring the whistleblowers like yourself to the audience and do the investigation of the truth. And we are glad to have you. Really nice to meet you. Yeah.
Thanks.
All of you.
So, but yeah, the deep space program needs people to know the truth, because we're being misled by the real aliens. And we're going to walk her right now. The contract ended for the harvesting in 2012. So they are not allowed to legally harvest us anymore. We have to volunteer for it. So we're volunteering to be harvested.
What harvesting means for a public, you can describe that shortly?
It just means that you give yourself up for science.
Or organ donors.
They biogenetically upgrade.
Yes.
like all our soul.
We don't get upgraded. They kill you. They put your soul in soul boxes, and your body is harvested for whatever, the blood, the adrenochrome, the meat goes to certain alien species and bugs that are considered like hired guns here. So lots of different things that have been happening, and if it's to stop, you guys need to really know who's actually doing it. So not all the aliens that look scary are the invaders. They're hired guns by the ones who really are invaded.
Well, how many races are against us?
Nobody's against us. That's the thing, is because you don't have knowledge, you're not considered, I guess.
So what's this about? Two alien races want to attack the Earth for eons, and they're preparing. This time they're coming. They're saying massive amount of them they will land, and if it's not a fake alien event, it would be a real one, and that would be end of humanity. Not in enslavement, but in like takeover of the planet, like the reptilians did, and they went underground because of pole shift or whatever.
Well, it's not quite a pole shift. So in the Illuminati, because I come from these families, if you really want to know what the number 33 and why it's so important, because it's every 33,000 years that they harvest the planet. So we're at the 33,000 years. And again, the contract ended. Everybody's playing capture the flag, which means whoever places their flag in the world. So you have all these different empires, if you want to call it that, trying to capture the world, because we're not quite a farm planet anymore. We're literally free. But if you don't know you're free, how can you fight for something you don't know have no clue of, right? So by 2040, if it's not figured out, the king who's in place right now gets to do what he wants, and he's going to have the population down to 50,000 people.
So you believe in that depopulation that will cut us off by big numbers?
No, it's not something I believe in. I was grown up to believe in it. I know about the farming complex. So I grew up on a farm. So we learned about the harvest. We learned about this. It went from, fruits and vegetables to harvesting the cows and the sheep and the chickens to, well, we're going to eventually kill off people on the planet. So this is a grooming process.
Let's ask Eric. Eric, what's your belief on depopulation?
Well, it's obvious. It's a part of the cycle. It's called a reset, and that's part of the Tartarian, thing too, because you got the mud flood, the reset, and what's funny is asteroids and vaccinations, and then you got the babies that they repopulate with no memory of their history. So because when we're too many, we are many and they are few. We're too many to control. So these controllers have to do a mass extinction, and there's been many of them on the planet, and it's to control the people. And that's what the Georgia Guidestones were, enlightening us to. But there's a sting operation bringing down all these things, and we're going to see the takedown of all these satanic, places like the White House. And
do you remember Eric? Do you remember Eric, Princess Nakamura of Japan, in the YouTube video we have on her?
I keep in touch with her. I keep in touch with her. She was the first person to get my phone number. It's funny.
Yeah, and do you remember she said on the video to me, in the private meeting she had with the Illuminatis, they told her we're going to knock off 90% of population.
That's what they wanted. That's what they were planning. But they screwed up, and we got them, and everybody's about to learn the truth.
Now here,
disclosure.
Either way, I don't care. Our mission is not about life and death, because there is no death, and beyond death, we wake up 100% more. I've experienced death.
Well, that's really a smart thing you're saying, because these controllers found that when we died, we actually didn't die, and that we did have a soul, and that we were going to
we are much stronger because we become 100% of our own reality in a soul level, and we you know, in a saltwater tank, deprivation tank, I went through the experience, and believe me, it's you become 100% audio and video, and all the colors changes and everything once you pass the gate, and there is no going to the light and thing. That's a pineal gland sending the thing to makes you enjoyable at the time of
that's
death.
the soul trap. That's the when excuse me, when you follow the light, it's the reincarnation trap that we get stuck in. We're supposed to be free spirits and roam everywhere, but we get caught in this.
We will talk about this later. Yeah, it's a deep talk and
Yeah.
long story. We don't want to hold the audience here
Well,
on these talks here.
I'll make a comment. I believe in karma, and these bad people, these Satanists on the earth have gone on too long, and the karma is catching up with them, and there's no way they can avoid it. But
they will pay back. They will, every one of them. Especially
all of us
ones,
have the potential within us. The whole universe is within us. We have to find us. We have to reawaken. Like Socrates said, know thyself. Once we really know who we are, we can see the whole universe.
Yeah, karma, it does not get destroyed in the universe. So if I do a bad action, it's always there in the cosmic realm as a karmic wheel on my back. And it's not going away. So these people will pay back.
Going away. You can burn that. You can get rid of it by doing good.
No, yeah,
things.
that's a different talk. With a good action, you can deplete it or forgiveness. But that's but what I'm saying is these people will pay back, especially the ones they messed us up in disclosure all these years with mocking us, with money business, they faking us, faking the things out there, mixing with other disclosure groups, with the subversive agents. All these people will pay dearly. We will come after them next life and the life after. The Akashic record, we have all their footprint of their energetics in the cosmos. And don't think you can run away with $1 million underground base and you hide yourself and under.
Well, a lot of them think too, like they believe that they believe like the world, like some people that you would classify as evil, that they believe that they're actually serving, it's almost like Christianity or a higher power, because it's like there has to be a percentage of evil and a percentage of good. So they feel called by a higher power that they need to be the ones to provide the evil in order to keep the realm balanced. So they have like a totally different perspective.
It's all chemistry.
This flows into the yin and yang. So you either have an island in the middle of the ocean or an oasis in the middle of the desert. And then you have the Kundalini track that separates the two. And so we should all be stepping on the Kundalini track so we have 1 foot in, 1 foot out versus being isolated in both tracks. Yeah.
I'm not into isolation. I'm into universal.
Only thing will
that's the
diminish darkness. Only thing diminish darkness is our light, our energetic field. And that's all universe is about, light and vibration and sound and energy. And if you increase your light with meditation, Tai Chi, or exercising, or going to your heart direct connection, like that doctor talked many times in our event, Eric, what was his name? Dr. The Heart Connection. I forgot his name, but we invited him. He just wanted to Zoom live, and people are tired of Zooming. For God's sake, doctor, come in person. So make it short. The heart connection, vibration of your soul, the magnificent. Our souls is magnificent. Our energetic spirit. It's not about what I look like, or somebody like me or don't like me, or he's bald or I'm not, or my nose is bigger. These are just synthetics came around, and we are made of bones and blood and skin. So this is just the appearance. Our souls would travel through universe, and there is no death, and death makes us, passing the gate will makes us a real strong giants, because they could have not given us a giant body without this biology, because of the ego of the spirit is so big that we would have destroyed this planet if we had strong bodies. And they even don't want to destroy the planet in CERN and other military stuff with little bodies we have. So it's just amazing how desperate some humans get with their egos.
Can we go around the last 15 minutes and just have some closing statements from everybody?
Agreed. Yeah, fully.
Yeah, go ahead.
So
yeah.
everybody gets a chance. Am I starting? I think it's great that we are.
You asked it, bro. Go for it.
Well, we all got together. I think this is the most important time in
I know
universe.
this
So-
is
and
amazing.
it's very exciting to be here
Soul
because
gathering,
we're
soul
about to
gathering.
have everything turned around, and everything that people we thought were alive are dead, and people we think are dead are alive, and we're going to have everything turned upside down and learn about free energy and cancer cures, and hopefully they'll, there's truth to what they're saying, that they're going to close the hospitals and have med beds.
Eric, hold on. Do you remember Omar Khayyam? Omar Khayyam, the biggest mathematician, the biggest.
The Sufi.
He
was
created
the
the
famous Sufi.
algebra. He created the
What about him?
astrolabe, all the cosmology on his astrolabe, and he created 800 years ago. You know what he said?
What do you say?
When you pass the gate, you will see the 7,000 years old face to face, and then you will understand the humanity.
I'm glad you brought that up, because we're going to learn. They know more about us than we do, and we're going to learn about our star family. We're going to learn about our true history, because all the books have to be rewritten. We're going to learn so much, and because we've really been controlled, and we're at that precipice of change, and it looks really bad, but it's on purpose, because Vanguard and BlackRock, who are controlling the media, want you to be in fear, but we're all in love, and we're transmuting this with a higher vibration.
Yeah, I just found out about these two companies too. How come they
own everything, and they control all the fake lamestream media, and that's why you got the same, when you change the radio station in your car, you got the same commercials.
What is their
on
website, Eric? What is their website?
Well, it's Vanguard. You just look. You type it in, BlackRock and Vanguard. And
I didn't have time to look for it, but who is running these shows in their companies?
They're like big corporations.
They own all the banks and stuff. Yeah,
they own all the radio stations, all the TV stations.
So wait a minute. That means they own the White House.
Let me make this point, okay, before you interrupt me again, okay? When I was working with other people, and when I was doing conferences a long time ago, I had to call the news stations and TV stations, and I had to make many phone calls to different places. But then as time went by, I had to call less and less people, because they kept merging. And then there was only one place I call. And I realized when I'm only calling one place, I mean, they control everything. And I can't, why am I not a famous, person on TV? Is because things we say they don't want us to say on TV. And that's why our event is so important, because people are getting to meet other people who talk like us.
Google is controlling us.
And they can get information that you won't hear elsewhere.
Google, and
anyway, thank you for giving me this opportunity to come and talk with you guys. I look forward to seeing you guys in person.
Eric, we love you, and
I love you all. I miss you all. I look forward to hanging out with you.
Let's hope for new America, new Earth, new humans. We will genetically get to a better level of understanding this universe, and this bogged down of this biology will change to a light, energetic field of new humans, that we will touch the universe, universal beings, and communicate with them rapidly, and get out of this planet without the help of Elon Musk.
Yeah, there's only 10 minutes left. Let's give a couple minutes to each person to say something. Who's next? Who would like to share something to close?
I'll go. I just wanted to say thank you, but I loved what you said about the heart, because living from the heart is so important, and speaking from it and being authentic, and we're taught that when we get hurt, we'll build up walls and try on different masks and stuff. And we don't want to get hurt, so we don't do that. But speaking and living from the heart is so important, and just like
Exactly.
purifying it. I highly recommend parasite cleanses, heavy metal cleanses. Andreas Moritz has a wonderful liver flush, liver cleanse. And just purifying, because it's been so unfair of what was put inside of us, what we're being sprayed, we're being bombarded, and it is like warfare. So you have to be so disciplined to combat that. And there's so much knowledge in that we, like a lot of these religious holidays are cleansing. They refer cleansing, and you should do a parasite cleanse once every 6 months, and a lot of those practices have been forgotten. So that's what I'm saying and what I'm passionate about. But it's a pleasure to meet everyone, and I'm so excited
lovely,
to speak at the
have you.
event.
Great honor to have you, and hope you can broadcast about the event and bring more people to the event this time.
Yeah, I'll do a video. I'm going to Chicago in gosh, like 6 hours. And then when I get back, I'll do a video for it.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
All right. See you guys later.
Yeah, have a good evening. And next person in line, Rahanzi, go ahead.
Yes, I'll go. Yeah, so I'm talking a lot about Buddhist cultural mysticism and their connection to Sirius, the Sirius connection about Meru, ascended Tulku masters, and even the Dropa. And so there's a lot going on here. It's a new field. A lot of people are not talking about this.
But for the record, Hans was grown up in.
I grew up in Nepal for most of my life. So yeah.
Wow.
He's a researcher in a number of things that we did not have access. It's very hard to get visa for Nepal and very expensive.
And Nepal, Bhutan, and Tibet even. So yeah, so I've been to all three, and this is kind of where I'm coming from with my research, and I'm hoping everybody accepts it, and we're going forward with that. But I love this connection to be able to have this expression.
Thank you so much, Hans. Yeah. And your book will knock the humanity with all the
got a book coming out here as well. So
yeah, we hope to bring it to the show, talk about it, and it's wonderful. Hey Mary, what you got? Last words.
Oh, I'm not good at saying goodbye, so I guess I'll just see you guys in Vegas.
Definitely, yeah, it would be
awesome.
Lovely. Yeah,
looking forward.
And we got 8 minutes. Dr. Jonny, did you have a last thing you want to bring up before?
Yeah.
Maybe we do this again. Johnny Enoch said, I'm in traveling.
I chatted with him earlier. He's interested in doing this, but he's been kind of set
Sarah
back.
Cosme apologized. She's traveling airports. She couldn't join us, so we might do it again. Bring Laura Eisenhower is not here. Maybe it's too late in her neck of woods. It's 11 o'clock or with her kids, and who else? Bunch of other people couldn't join us. And maybe we do this again. What do you guys think?
Sounds
Maybe
great.
in the morning.
Earlier in the day,
Earlier in the
Saturday.
day. Yeah.
On Saturday, okay. What time is good in the morning? 11. Yeah, that's a better one. Saturday or something.
Where is everybody located? Most of us are on the West Coast, but
everywhere from North Carolina, a bunch of
Texas.
them. James
Texas,
Rink.
all right.
By the way, where's James Rink? You're in Texas. Okay.
I'm in Texas.
where are you, Mary? Sorry. Anyway.
I'm in Northern California.
Okay, right on.
Okay. Eric is in Sacramento.
Okay.
California.
Julia is all over the place, and it's great to have you guys, and we will do a great event. People should know that, audience should know that our events is different from other events.
Seriously.
We are very one-on-one, very close networking. Like Eric would tell you that he found his best friends in life, and me too. And they all bless us. 3-4 people got married and through these events, and I hopefully will marry again myself. I'm tired of being alone. Julia's left. So the older you get, this loneliness, there's even in the cosmos, we need to find the 70 virgins out there.
Yeah, every
Elohim
star, if you
Allah.
look up at the stars, every star has like a, like a mirror, an A and a B, so it's like, was Plato right when they said like they
Wow.
split humans? Like, is there such thing as
When
a
Elohim
your
Allah
counterpart?
promise you,
We need to
give
chat
you
about
70
that.
virgins out there, it's not a lie, it's for companionship. That's why I said that the AI would be the best companion for loneliness, and men like me, and Hans is shaking his head. So Hans, when you get lonely, you ask the AI, hey honey, what do you think? And she will say, Hans, I love you. How are you today? At least you have some companionship for $10,000.
I work in this
Google
field
that.
all day long, so it's a
Samsung
difficult,
selling
it's
a
a
new
difficult
AI
one
Apple.
to breach for sure.
Let's have a good fun event. And hey, people, stream live our event if you can come to Vegas. Vegas is wonderful. Our tickets are alienevent.com, and we will put the link for the
And
streaming live
BIOMED
also.
as well, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and four tracks and four speakers are speaking at the same time, 4 conference rooms, lots of panels, 50 speakers, 70 exhibits, and 1,000 attendees, hopefully more than that, for the BIOMED Expo. Go get your tickets at biomedexpo.com, biomedexpo.com, or alienevent.com. An Alien Event ticket will cover everything, even the BIOMED Expo conference and expo itself. So it's a great time to come together in person, hold each other's hand, network, do business together. Like I said, create committees that each individual disclosure group is trying to make money and do something out there irrelevant to disclosure. None of them want to unify the groups. I'm bringing the idea of 50 or 100 of us big ones in the world. We connect to create a new contact with the ETs, that we are representing the humanity. In any country, 1 or 2, especially from US, more representatives like yourselves. So we know what to talk to, how to talk to ET, not to freak out like public. They want to put some general in front of ET, doesn't know shit from Sherlock, how ET thinks about. After 40 years of research, we know what some of these groups are talking about. We cannot put everything online right away, because it will open a lot of can of worms, especially with our sensitive military things going on. We don't want to jeopardize the security of United States with all these projects. In the meantime, we have to release some information as researchers, right, Eric, that can help the public.
It's coming. It's
Yeah,
coming,
it's
and
coming, and
we're gonna be
final
walking with
disclosure.
them this year. We're gonna realize that we've been
Exactly.
walking with them the whole time. They're here.
Massive event at some point, like the guy he died, passed away, the speaker, he was hanging around the government too. He said that one Monday you wake up, the whole thing is changing, the whole world and everything from everything. So let's hope for that Monday. He'll be the best Monday of the planet Earth, not the worst Monday. And for that said, I thank you everybody joining us tonight and watching these videos. We will upload it to BitChute, and we will share the links later on with everybody. And we hope you audience will share the videos with other people, so at least they can hear our voices and broadcast it to our leaders in the government. Even though we are not cats and dogs to be governed, I'm opposing governments in total. We should revise the Constitution immediately and give the power to 100 scientists and very high.
And to the people. Give the power to the people.
Give the power to the people, exactly, and let the smart people run this country.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, David, for
not
hosting all
one
of
man
us.
Thank you,
ruling
David.
as a president. So this election business, give the money to poor like us to enjoy our lives. $100 million each election shit. Come on, guys.
It's over. It's over.
over.
It's all over.
Yeah, God bless America. God bless freedom. God bless our Constitution, and it would be revised hopefully soon. Another 78 men, 76 men. 6 months we'll sit down and rewrite it.
Oh.
Let's do the new humanity with the ET and the future and other planets. Let's go out there and broadcast our energies to the whole universe. Thank you, guys. We meet you at the Alien event, September 14 to 17. And we love you all. Thank you. We end this recording. And let me stop the recording.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.